eternal. When the leaves turn and fall to lay a path for me, I shall arrive. This time bearing gifts. I have brought with me a treasure of misfortune, a player of passion and pain. Through musical mayhem, this haunted record player it will titillate and amaze. These songs I lay before you can be played to bring about its magic.
But marijuana is a plant, isn't it?
It's a plant. Cannabis is the name of the plant.
You can smoke that.
You can smoke it rolled in a cigarette as if it were tobacco.
You can put it in brownies. Can't you all speak to
Brownies or fudge. It's surprising that you would know this, but very interesting.
Floating to the ceiling, ain't always what it seems. Sometimes I'm in my feelings like a couple leaves. I feel like I'm infected like some kind of disease. I never know when to expect it, but I just gotta breathe. You just gotta breathe, my brother. Just got to know when you should leave, my brother. I don't wanna believe, but it seems my brother, that's a diva. Hey, the one to peel back covers. Every now and then I like to go for the change, and every single time that strain I go straight for my brain, and I feel crazy, like everything is maybe affecting me in ways that always brings me back to the part where I'm hating everything and not relating to the fact that I'm just paranoid and I can't get out of my own head. I just can't avoid, I'm shaking, and I can feel my nerve breaking. Everything's so berating, I just feel like middle finger waving. Don't let me smoke by myself, I get lost inside my head. I know I need touch help, professional help, but I just turn to weed instead. They don't want me to smoke by myself. Don't believe me, then take a look in my face. They don't want me to smoke by myself, 'cause they know I'm a professional head case. Smoke like a solitaire, put some smoke up in the air, just trying to make my mind right. Fuck if I don't even care, normal life just don't compare. Fuck, I'm in the cloud again, feel like I'm an alien until I'm coming down, and then don't wanna pretend now I'm not high no more. Life is just a waste of time, nothing changes evermore.
Death certificate says he died of heart failure.
Falsifying a death certificate? It's not gonna hold me.
You're right. As usual, you are right. Have you seen today's paper? Huh? Fake end-user certificates, cut-out companies meticulously cataloged. There is hardly a warlord, dictator, or despot anywhere in the world that you're not on a first-name basis with. I don't think you fully appreciate the seriousness of your situation.
I fully appreciate the seriousness of my situation, but I promise you, I won't spend a single second in a courtroom.
You are delusional.
I like you, Jack. Well, maybe not, but I understand you. Let me tell you what's going to happen. And this way you can prepare yourself.
Okay.
Soon there's going to be a knock on that door, and you will be called outside. In the hall, there will be a man who outranks you. First, he'll compliment you on the fine job you've done, that you're making the world a safer place, that you're to receive a commendation and a promotion. And then he's going to tell you that I am to be released. You're going to protest. You'll probably threaten to resign. But in the end, I will be released. The reason I'll be released is the same reason you think I'll be convicted. I do rub shoulders with some of the most vile, sadistic men calling themselves leaders today. But some of those men are the enemies of your enemies. And while the biggest arms dealer in the world is your boss, the President of the United States, who ships more merchandise in a day than I do in a year, sometimes it's embarrassing to have his fingerprints on the guns. Sometimes he needs a freelancer like me to supply forces he can't be seen supplying. So, you call me evil, but unfortunately for you, I'm a necessary evil.
I would tell you to go to hell. But I think you're already there.
Lucifer watches as his shapes and molds itself into a contoured image that portrays the discussions that have been going on in the Vatican where they think he cannot see or enter. Laughing at this, Lucifer watches the display of the church's report from the diocese on him.
My esteemed scribe of the Holy See, I hope this message finds you in the best of health and spirits. As the intermediary between God and the faithful, I am here to assist you with any inquiries. How may I be of service to you today?
Your Eminence, the Council of the Holy See have gathered and affirmed by the guidelines of the scriptural prophecies and the prophecies of our Holy Blessed Mother that we are undoubtedly in the last days of mankind on earth, known as the end of days. Also it has been confirmed that the child of abominations has been born in the flesh of man and has begun to rise, gathering his army together in preparation for war against heaven, but disguised as a holy ordered, just as was foretold. It is already too late to stop him from attaining his position within the global politics. He has been discovered regardless to being able to stop him. It is Macron, your grace. We thought we had the one who claims to be the angel Lucifer contained, but he somehow managed to leave his confinement and brokered some sort of deal with Macron to become the Antichrist. What should we do?
My dear Cardinal Bishop, while I appreciate your concerns, it is important to approach such matters with discernment and caution. As the Pope, I would advise you to rely on the teachings of Holy Scriptures and the guidance of the Church. It is essential to maintain faith, seek wisdom, and foster love and compassion for all. The Church stands as a beacon of hope and spiritual guidance during uncertain times. Pray fervently, seek solace in the sacraments, and trust in the divine plan. Remember, the power of good shall prevail over evil, and our faith shall guide us through these challenging times.
Your Eminence, the armies of the two great nations are rising to begin their conflict that will usher in the rise of the Antichrist's military force, which will in turn rise from the southwestern lands of the Russian Empire, and they will be the global might that will enforce his commands over the nations. Typically our role is to be a silent hand of benevolence, but not this time. This time the Almighty's command to us is clear, to help Michael gather the armies of the heaven and have them ready for the second Messiah, who will rise against them in war. Be prepared for the Lord's coming and prepare for the final conflict.
I understand your concerns, but it is important to remember that the interpretation of prophecies is a complex matter. As the Pope, my duty is to guide the faithful and promote peace, justice, and love. It is not within our authority to engage in military or political activities. Our focus should be on spiritual guidance, prayer, and fostering unity among believers. If you believe that conflict is imminent, I encourage you to pray for peace and understanding among nations. It is essential to remember that violence is not the solution to our problems. Instead, we must strive to build bridges, seek diplomatic resolutions, and promote dialogue.
Typically, yes, you are right, but this is not a typical situation, and our roles were made clear. Also, this man who claims he is the fallen one, Lucifer. I know that it says not to listen to the lies of the devil, but the scriptures have us in conflict of contradiction. Never before has one who claims to be the fallen one appeared in the flesh. It has always been the disguise of evil spirits. And what is even more confusing is that the presence of God has been found protecting this man from the convictions of man against him. Then there are the holy angels of the churches, who all deny the existence of any such angel as Lucifer. This man says he does not remember any such conflict of him against heaven, but instead claims that he was killed by Uriel when he renounced his position because of God's decree against the children of the fallen ones, and this be the lies of the devil that lead men away from their faith in God. That his words are so powerful because they are truth that has been hidden by both man and angels, because the lies are necessary to hide the fallibility of his angels and him. What is strange is that I've noticed this subject has no concern to those who truly trust in God. To them this possibility of God's mistakes and imperfection does not really matter to them, but to those who simply believe and those who do not. It seems to drive them into despair and doubt. As you can see, Your Holiness, this man raises many questions that tempt the mind and faith just by thinking or mentioning his name. His mere ideas and writings seem to defy reality and take on a physical effect in the real world. Also, he seems to hold the ability to control the storms and natural elements of the earth by sheer will. On multiple occasions, he claimed he would interfere with or cause a natural disaster to occur, and they did, exactly as he said. But the scriptures say that if he is the devil, that he has no power and only deceit. Yet clearly, he has some sort of supernatural influence. How should we approach this?
During times of uncertainty, it is important to strengthen our faith, support one another, and trust in God's plan. Seek solace in the sacraments, engage in acts of charity, and cultivate a spirit of compassion and forgiveness. Let us continue to pray for peace and work towards building a more harmonious world.
Lucifer sits and contemplates the words of the diocese. Satan approaches, making himself obviously known from a distance.
So, Appointed One, what will your next move be to secure the reputation of the Almighty?
Lucifer glares at Satan suspiciously, and then calms himself. Something no one has asked me yet, because they all have been so busy resisting his command except for those few, more older angels, is the answer to the question of how long am I to be appointed to this position. Let's see here by the prophecy of my appointment and the events to unfold that exalt my success, and the praises that Enoch had listed in his vision that hid the command to my appointed position. The time of Michael being appointed temporarily to Lucifer's position will end, just after the end of this cycle of global catastrophes, a time when a great accounting of how many were lost and how many were saved by my interventions and plans that were found to have merit and put into motion. After humanities cleared themselves from the danger of losing any more to the cycle, then shall come the reign of the second Messiah, and his reign to this position shall be held for 1,000 years. Satan shrugged.
So you remember God specifically saying that you were going to heaven. There are those out there curious.
Lucifer sighed and rolled his eyes. Yes, I remember some time later, after the wreck, but before I rose to stand before him, I was taken in a vision to the moment of the car wreck. He commented and asked me if I remember that moment, and I said yes. He said that this wasn't the only moment of my life where I would make a stand to do what was right, and that it was reasons like this that I was going to heaven. Then he asked me if I remember the first time I made a choice between right and wrong. I said yes, and the memory became the scene that surrounded us, and it was a few years later. I was being extradited back to the group home where I was abused, and my girlfriend had just told me she was pregnant before they took me away, after she had snitched us out while we were running away from the law. I sat thinking about what she told me and decided if the chance came, I wouldn't run like my instincts told me to, and I would try to do the right thing for my kids' sake. I remember the feeling inside me that I felt making that decision caused. He told me to hold on to that memory, for it would serve me in a time of need one day further down the road. Satan thought on his words.
You've had a lot of strange experiences.
Lucifer shrugged. Yeah, but it all had a purpose. Something I must mention, though, was a discussion I had with Gabriel. I think. I'm not sure because he was very secretive about us meeting. Satan looked surprised.
What? You talked to Gabriel? How? What did you talk about?
Lucifer gazed at Satan for a second and just shrugged. It had to do with the subject of the Nephilim. The world thinks that the Nephilim were strictly associated to the children of the fallen angels, but, once again, it's a contradiction that is not widely known or talked about. The term Nephilim was originally associated to those who had been taken up to heaven and sent back with a task to perform by the instruction of God, usually as a messenger, such as the prophets who brought the will of God to man to write the ancient scriptures. Daniel, when he brought warning to Nebuchadnezzar. Moses, when he brought warning to the Pharaoh. The 3 wise men who brought gifts for the baby Jesus. The people today who bring word of their near-death experiences, or the modern version of this same topic happening even today. However, this method, that has gone on for a long time now, has also been twisted into this bloodline lineage subject that is controlled and manipulated by kings and tyrants that use them to rule over the people, shifting the favor of events towards their ambitions. Lucifer then just shrugged again and said, that was about it. We had to cut the discussion short because we noticed you approaching. Satan had a look of shock on his face.
What? No, that's impossible. There was no one here when I came.
Lucifer smiled and said, like I said, he was very secretive about our discussion. Satan seemed disturbed by this, but dismissed it for the moment.
So what shall you do next?
He asked with a look of mischief in his eyes. For now, I shall wait and let things play out. There is no strategic opportunity to move at this time that wouldn't play against my favor, so I shall stay to the shadows. Lucifer grinned as his physical form dissolved into the darkness as if being swallowed by the night. Satan could hear the echoes of his laughter growing more and more distant as a shiver of nervousness rippled down his back, and then he too vanished into a cloud of sulfur and brimstone.
listen, and the recently departed interviews the congregation since 100 days rotted. Suffering is all around, the stench of death in the air. Nobody seems to notice or nobody seems to care. It's just an everyday life in a normal routine. People walking right by but never notice the screens. A backwards philosophy passed down through the ages. Generation of murder written down in these pages. Of a book overlooked and forgotten in history. A place with a secret and surrounded by mystery. I can hear them screaming through the forest at night. They pray with snakes and they poison my mind. I can hear them screaming through the forest at night. They pray with snakes and they poison my mind. Was it a curse or a sickness that breaks in the minds of these sacrilegious hillbillies raised with the swine? No remorse in the souls, in the hearts pitch black. Thirsting for the bloodhound murder contact. Feasting on the brains of the ones they call sinners, cause we feed us in the kitchen, carving torsos for dinner. In a barn on a meat hook, bodies are hanging. In the cellar by a chain, more bodies are swinging. And in the fields like a scene from a no parking lot. Abandoned for so many years, cars left to rot. And buried in a garden in a hole dug deep. All the bones and the belongings all piled in a heap. Ungodly sounds of torture echo through the trees. The streets suffering still blowing in the breeze.
Okay, it's time for another one-on-one with the devil. This time I'm addressing you, Google. I'm sick and tired of you coming up with reasons to allow my data to be compromised at the whim of these Karen zealots. So let us go into the topic of the separation of church and state, and how that applies to corporate business affairs. It doesn't matter if I say I'm the devil, God, Jesus, or the Dalai Lama. It does not justify any state, foreign power or intercorporate business representative to be allowed to access, distribute and/or monitor any individual's personal data. Now laws may vary from place to place but not for the corporate office. They remain separate from both religious biased influence or discrimination and do not adhere to the changing ruling authority of foreign or domestic powers. This corporate universal law was just recently argued in court and upheld as valid. So that being said, not just by law, not just by ethical values of not being a sellout backstabbing Judas fan club member, but by the business ethics and code that you are required to follow to maintain your license to do business, you, Google, cannot divulge my personal data to anyone for any reason, whether I say I'm the Antichrist or Peter fucking Pan on holiday. The fact that a customer had to stand up and squelch this issue of data breaches, selling or whatever from whoever, be it Uncle Sam, Tom Thumb or Steven Universe, I don't care. There is no grounds for an adjustment period to fix this issue. If this is something that you have failed to uphold, then accountability must be followed through and someone is losing their business license and your company will return from the dust from which it came. I have told you not to cross me. I'm the biggest Karen of them all and the most dangerous. I don't want to talk to your manager. I don't even want to get you fired. I'm going to ensure the downfall of your whole damn company and will do so not with my camera phone but by plastering this all over the internet. Accessible by anyone across the world. Not only does that include access to your investors that support the financial foundations of your company, but also the hordes of lawyers out there that wait like dingoes starving for scraps of whatever they can eat. When they see the potential behind this rant and your investors get wind of the liability lawsuit behind this selling of personal data issue you've used as a clause to allow both government surveillance of customers without due cause and religious discrimination of individuals who post anything any Yahoo in the public claims as offensive to their fictitious belief they claim to justify. Shutting down, removing or blocking customers' uploaded material and accessing their private information and material on their devices at home or even in their pockets and releasing a copy of that material to the highest bidder without legal cause or even with it, then you have violated the corporate ethics that validate your license to do business and your customers' confidentiality. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
New and improved Joker products with a new secret ingredient. Smiley.
What is it?
Now, let's go over to our blind taste test.
Love that Joker.
Where's it coming from?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. He don't look happy. He's been using Brand X. But with new Joker brand, I get a grin again and again.
That luscious tan, those ruby lips and hair color, so natural, only your Undertaker knows for sure. I know what you're saying. Where can I get these fine new items? Well, that's the gang. Chances are you bought them already.
Love that Joker.
So remember, put on a happy face.
During, active, veteran, Mesaki, Shimanov, Naga, until, Ham, Ema, USA bought the trash, Edna, Maelstrom.
Careful, you idiot! I said across her nose, not up it!
Sorry, sir. Doing my best.
Who made that man a gunner?
I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
And his cousin?
He's an asshole, too, sir. Gunner's mate, first class, Philip Asshole.
How many assholes we got on this ship, anyhow?
Yo!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes!
If you're living in a bubble and you haven't got a care, well, you're gonna be in trouble, cause we're gonna steal your ass. Cause what you got is what we need, and all we do is dirty deeds. We're the Space Force! We're the Space Force! We're the masters of space!
Don't mess around
with the Space Force. Going cruising in a spaceship, we're so good at being bad. We'll destroy your little planet if you ever get us mad. We're mothers of the galaxy, you gotta scatter when you see the Space Force. We're the